listening to Obstacle Races New Zealand. Join your hosts Max Bell and Stephen Steady as they explore the realms of obstacle sports, including OCR, mud running, adventure racing, hybrid racing, ninja and more, in New Zealand and abroad.
1 year, Max, we've been doing this. Not as probably as vigilantly as we first planned, but we've got through 18 episodes, 19 episodes.
Yeah, I think this is the 19th, this one here. It's exciting and crazy that been going 1 year. It's cool. Learned a lot. Yeah, like you said, just not as we did have a plan to release an episode every 3 weeks, was it?
Yeah, 2 to 3 weeks. So we can't be that far off at 19, and potentially we could have had 24 out, so we're a little bit there. But
I think it is good we've been going for a year though, because it is hard to maintain that enthusiasm.
Yeah, and the momentum.
That's one thing I've noticed. Sorry, something I've noticed with other podcasts too. It's like sometimes I'll search for a topic and I'll find 10 podcasts, 20 podcasts on this topic, and I'll start clicking through them, and so many of them are just 5 episodes, 2 episodes. Like obviously someone's been really excited and then just gotten sick of the grind of making it. It's hard to keep going. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I actually looked for one today. Lindsay Webster put it on her thing about how she's changing from OCR to trail running, the Sky series. And she was on a podcast of a friend of hers called Run Far, Lift Heavy. And I had a look at that. And she's been going for 2 years, but she's only got like 17 podcasts. She does a heap and then does nothing. Does a heap, does nothing. At least we have been reasonably consistent. We've got out at least one a month. And you're right, we are getting better.
I think so, yeah. It's exciting now, this episode, because this time last year, August 2021, when we started, the first ever episode was with talking about Ultimate Athlete, the first Ultimate Athlete that happened in 2021, and interviewing Maria Bentley.
Yep.
It was one of the elite races, interviewing her about her thoughts on the race. But this episode now, again, 1 year later, talking about Ultimate Athlete, and again, we've got Maria back on the show as well. So
it's
cool
with a few others.
Circle. Oh, yeah, a few others for sure. So that's another really exciting part, is usually we'll get one guest on, like you and me, and talking to someone else. But this episode we have eight guests, which is epic.
Yes.
You, me, we've got James Bell-Booth from Airshots, who is our sponsor. Had him on the past 2 episodes, but we've got the third and final part of the interview with him today. And then we also talked to the elite racers from Ultimate Athlete. We talked to the top 3 elite male finishers and the top 2 elite female finishers. And then we also talked to Gavin and Joss, the organisers behind Ultimate Athlete.
And they were all very interesting discussions. I have to admit, there were some things come out that I didn't think of that were, about like the what was the hardest obstacle, and they said the sandbag, and you go, oh, hold on, I would have picked the monkey bars or the warp wall, but it was a really, really good discussion with all of them. They're short, sharp, but it was all about how they thought and what their thoughts and that of the Ultimate Athlete race in Mount Maunganui a month ago.
Definitely interesting listening back to them myself, and yeah, these guys are insanely awesome runners. But yeah, like you were saying, it's quite surprising hearing them talk about the weight carriers being the hardest obstacle, because comparatively compared to other races, they're not actually that heavy an Ultimate Athlete compared to some other races out there. But from a running background, they are really heavy. And so interesting to see, where how people winning the race, what skills are the most important, running being the big one. And the other thing I found fascinating was like some conflicting advice as well from the top places. Like someone, I think Julian maybe, talks about the technique for the warped walls to sprint into it as fast as you can. And then Maria, I think, talks about the opposite, how you want to go in slow and just power in the last, 1 or 2 steps to get up it. So again, that's fascinating, hearing the people who are doing the best at this race have a completely different way of tackling an obstacle.
And one of the things I found too was the 2 women both said that they would like to compete, do more, and definitely will be coming back to UA. So that's encouraging.
Yeah, and it sounded like we learned about some of the other guys are athletics and triathlon, and just hearing about like their season as well as how that timing matches up with UA. Looks like there is a bit of a potential crossover there, and that some of them may not be able to come back just because their main sport kicks in again.
And I think that's going to be an issue, whatever sport you're in. If you are trying to cross over and do other types of competitions, your main sport is always going to be, there's a season for them all. The good thing about OCR is it seems to run most of the year round. We just got to get a few more races here in New Zealand. And having Joss and Gavin on and getting their perspective of the organisers, it certainly opens a few doors up about what's happening them going forward, but what worked and what didn't work for them at the Mount for their second year.
Yeah, and we get the details too on the new event coming, the short course.
Yes,
the Athlete 150 metre course. Pretty exciting. Before we jump into that, just wanted to take a little bit of time too to talk about, just had some thoughts about our podcast improving over the year. So I remember talking at the start with you, Stephen, about one of the things I like about podcasts. I think as a medium, it's quite forgiving about people starting it and being pretty terrible quality. One of the things I enjoy with some podcasts is listening from the start all the way up to current day, but just seeing how they've improved. Like you can see the gaps where they've gotten new microphones or they've figured out how to edit something. It's quite cool seeing that journey with them.
Yes,
that's definitely what we've done over the past year.
Oh, just the editing. The first couple of episodes was us two rambling on, and then let's publish that. Now spending a bit of time in editing and having an intro and having some notes, which are probably unheard of at the beginning, or even doing research. We turn up and ask questions, and they go, "Oh, yeah, okay, you had done that."
So, yeah, you and I would just have a conversation and just make it up on the spot. Having notes of what we want to talk about definitely helps. To be honest, I didn't even edit some of the first few episodes. We'd record our intro, the interview, and some music, and I'd edit those together. But I wouldn't go back and edit the conversation. So it probably sounds bad, but now I'll go back and I'll edit out the long pauses and even just some tiny pauses just to keep the flow of the conversation consistent, keep it a little bit faster than speech. I realize is something important, that normal speech is quite slow compared to media, something I've picked up. And just editing out like the ums and those sort of moments. And sometimes people will like stutter and repeat themselves, just editing that out because it flows better without it.
Flows better. Done a good job with that, listening to them back from what we did at the beginning to what we do now. The editing, the stuff you're doing in the background is certainly a hell of a lot better.
Yeah, thank you. We got the intro partway through the year as well. We got a professionally recorded intro to the podcast.
Yes. Yep.
That makes us sound a lot more professional.
Some of it sounds professional, yes. Got to have a bit of professionalism there.
Yeah, then one thing I wanted to point out with this episode is that we recorded so many interviews that the timeline is a little bit out of order, in that we recorded. So what we're going to do in this episode is we'll listen to the athlete interviews, and then we'll listen to Joss and Gavin, and then we'll listen to James from Earshots at the end. But the way we recorded it, we recorded Joss and Gavin in between some of the athletes. So we talked to some of the athletes and we referenced what the organisers said. So it is a little bit out of order, but it makes sense. And that's one thing I think we've learned doing the podcast too is, I remember, Stephen, you were saying about, it just keeps me, what's the trail running podcast?
Dirt Church Radio.
Dirt Church Radio, yeah. I think you were saying when we started about how some episodes they'll talk about like jumping back in time.
Yes. Yeah.
Doing time switches because they've recorded at different periods too.
Yeah. No, I listen to that one. Them most weeks when I'm out running on a Sunday, and they do, and they go, and you're listening to this, but we recorded it, and this has happened since. Maybe that's something we should actually bring up, because sometimes we do say that, and then hold on, we've said that, but this has happened since, and we haven't actually covered that off. So you're right. Yeah, I know we did record these interviews with the team, and then we did Gavin and Joss halfway through, and then James we did a few weeks before, which not that he has a lot to do with the UA one, but it does jump all over the place in the timeline of what's happening in the world.
Yeah, and I don't know if you can avoid that for podcast. But I know we have done it in previous episodes too, where we've talked about something and then we've built up a stack of interviews, so we won't release that interview until 2 months later. And then by the time we release it, the current event, the current race we talk about, oh, this is happening next weekend. And then when you guys listen, it's actually past. So things like that, just keeping in mind there's different time frames for us, I think, when we record. Like, it's hard. I don't know how to. Maybe it's one of those problems you can't avoid.
It is. And I listened to Brodie Kane. I don't know if you remember her from TV1 and all that. She's got some podcasts, and she talks about the same thing. Is when she was in media, she had to, everything was there and then. It's going out tomorrow. But now she does the same thing. She records podcasts because that's what she does for a living now. She does podcasting. She helps people with podcasts. But you record something and you might not put it out for 2 months. You really do need to listen to it to make sure the intro matches what the people have been talking about, because the world has changed a lot since you did it 6 weeks ago. And I think we're getting better at that now. A valid point.
Yeah, definitely. But going forward, I also have just realised that we have the ability for people to leave us voice messages. If anyone would like to send us a message talking about their feedback for the show, or what you want to see on upcoming episodes, or questions that you'd like to put to anyone that we interview, I'll drop the link in the show notes.
That would be good. Get some feedback on what people think and what we can improve in, and what the area we could head to with our people we're talking to, or they may have ideas of people we should be talking to. I was wondering what that was in the notes you've written up. Leave a voice message, and I went, okay, how's that going to work? So Spotify has added that as a new option, have they?
Yeah. Leave us a message and then we'll talk about it in an upcoming episode. And also leave us a review. Your podcasting platform has the option to leave reviews. Yeah, feel free to write us a review, and we have an aggregation system in the background where it scrolls all the platforms and gives us the reviews, which is currently sitting at 0. We have 0 reviews, but we have listeners. I know you guys are listening. We get the stats. We get the feedback from some of you. But leave us reviews, please.
Definitely leave some reviews. And not you, Mum. I don't need a new review from you.
We can just get our mums to leave the first 2 and then get the ball rolling.
Maybe I should give her a call and say, can you do? I'll do that next time I'm talking to her. Anyway, side issue. This weekend, the weekend just gone, I should say, I did the Tough Guy, Tough Girl here in Auckland. When we were heading out to it, it's at a new venue in Kumu. We thought, this is going to be good. It's the Pony Club, so it's flat. There's no hills or anything. But I was quite surprised. There was no hills, but it was still a well-run event. And it's a mud run. There's no big obstacles. There's a couple of walls, a few pipes to crawl through, some nets to go under. But they dug some big, deep holes. I'm a decent size, and they were up to my chest, so some of the shorter people would have struggled with some of the holes. But I must admit, it was a really good day. I enjoyed it. And for people who haven't done Tough Guy, Tough Girl with event promotions, we had Murray on late last year. He puts on a very good show. It's well organised. They do a really good show. So if you're listening and you haven't done a mud run, definitely give Tough Guy, Tough Girl. I think there's one left this year in Rotorua. Give it a go. It's a fun day. I went out with a crew from Ascendfit. We had, 8 or 9. We came 3rd in the teams event and had a really, really fun day.
Nice. Yeah, I've done Wellington a few times and Palmerston North a few times when that was on. But yeah, definitely recommend it.
Yeah, well, this one they've changed because they had it here in Auckland and it was out. I can't remember the name of where it was, but it was not spectator friendly. You head off from the start and go through a fence and across a creek, and then you're in the forest and you're in paddocks, but there's no viewer. It was not very viewer friendly. Where this, it was a very zigzaggy circuit around the event, the main start finish line. Any competitors who finished could go out and watch, but also if you had people who weren't involved in it could go out and stand at the mud pit, stand at the walls and watch you. So it was, from all the ones I've done, they've catered for the viewer more than they have in other places, because I've been to the one in Wellington and the Rotorua, and you don't have that as much, where this you could go out and pretty much stand at every obstacle that you wanted to, which I thought was, from getting people involved and having a decent crew out there. Because we went out there with a whole heap of us, and then the guys that finished went back and watched the guys that were doing longer runs or hadn't finished bit first, so you could watch, come over the wall, crawl through some tunnels. Very, very friendly to spectators.
Sounds pretty cool.
And what about you? You got anything on your plate? Have you done anything recently?
No obstacle races, unfortunately. I have recently I've been organising chase tag, which is sort of related to obstacles, quite parkour side of things, and that it's trying to launch the sport of tag. There's World Chase Tag is the global league for this, and we're trying to get started in Wellington, but the games are an obstacle arena, and you have one chaser, one evader, and they're 20 seconds long, up to 20 seconds. So really short, fast, and sprint pace. So we had another event for that. It's pretty cool. We got the arena, the quad, the obstacle setup. We got that down a bit more organised. We had some more thought put into it, how to lay all the obstacles out, and that changes it so much. So I think we've got our base down. We've got we know how to run the games. We're getting the arena down more. We've set up more, they call it EQ for evasion quality. So different parts of your setup have different EQ ratings. So different obstacles have better EQ, so which means as the evader, you got more defense at an obstacle. It makes it harder for someone to chase you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I have to admit, since you started telling me about this, I did watch some of it recently on ESPN, I think it was.
Yeah.
One of the ones on Sky I was watching. And the question I have is, so the person that wins, they stay out there until they get tagged, do they?
They do. Yeah. So it's
okay.
Yeah, it's quite strategic at that, watching the games, because the person who wins stays on, and then a fresh player comes in. But the teams, you can choose which player goes on. So the person who's winning is getting more and more fatigued. You're sending fresh people in, but you can also choose someone whose like athletic ability counters the person who's already on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's quite cool. It's one of those sports I'm learning that it's just fun to watch. It's so fast and crazy and athletic, but there's so much like behind it. The more you get into it, the more you learn like what teams and who the players and their strengths and weaknesses, and which makes a good sport, I think, when there's so much more depth and debate you can have around it. But we had a little event in Wellington, and we had the cadets, the Navy cadets, come along. I think so there's about 30 of them come along and do it as part of their training. We had a handful of other people, but not too many people overall. So I think that's what we're doing going forward. We got our foundation down, we got the arena, we got the ability to run it, and the next is we just got to market it. We got to get the word out there more and get more people along and get it set up. And we're looking at November for the next event. A little while away, but there's a potential to tie it into a greater public event. Facility. Yeah.
All righty. Shall we cut over and have a listen to the team from the UA, the winners and organisers? Have a listen to what they've got to say about the event. Finish off with James from Earshots on his the last of our chats with him.
First up for this episode, we talked to Julian Oakley, who was the first place elite male finisher at Ultimate Athlete Mt Maunganui 2022.
Yeah, thanks. No, it was something I'd never done before, so it was wasn't really sure how it was going to go beforehand. Sort of scoped out some of the course, but really wasn't sure like how things would plan out. So to get the win was cool.
How did it go for you? How did you find the race?
It was hard. Like, it was a lot harder than I thought it would be. I think I underestimated some of because I hadn't done it before, so I didn't know a lot of the obstacles. I'd just sort of seen, like, because I live in the Mount, so I'd sort of scoped a few out the night before, just on the beach, and like the monkey bars and a few of those, that half pipe I'd seen, and I knew like it would play into my hands just because it was such a long course, like 10K of running, and obviously the lap around the Mount. So I knew I'd be competitive, and I knew Michael had won the year before, and he's a good marathon runner and a distance runner. So I thought like it would play into sort of the runner's hands, and decided to give it a go. And it was hard. Like that second lap of the obstacles going up Mount Drury, like it was really tough, and it took me like probably a week to recover afterwards. Just muscles that I don't use when I do just regular running. So, but really enjoyable and something different to the usual just track racing or road running.
So will you be back at the next one?
I think so. I need to scope it out in advance. I as I said before, it took me so long to recover. Like, I need to make sure I have my schedule planned from racing or anything afterwards. But it is a good time of the year for that. Like, May's pretty kind of a downtime for no athletics and not really into the cross country season yet. So it's actually a good time for me to do a race like that.
So what do you do normally? Is your normal sport and normal races? You do athletics?
Yeah, right. So athletics is what I've done for probably like the last 10 years pretty competitively. Started like track 800, 1500, gone all the way to 3K, 5K on the track, and then recently done a couple of half marathons. So that's my background, and still sort of moving up in distance, like done a couple of half marathons this year. We'll probably do some cross country coming up in the next couple of weeks, some road racing, and then back into the athletics season in sort of December is when it kicks off again. So yeah, that's sort of my background and where I've come from. Yeah.
How do you find it running on the sand?
Oh, that was like, besides if you count that as an obstacle, that was probably the hardest part of the thing, is running on soft sand, especially once you've done like 7Ks and you go back into that second loop and you're running on the complete soft sand. And there's quite at the start, there's a huge space between the obstacles. So you're running like 400 meters at a time on soft sand, hitting an obstacle, and then 400 meters again on the soft sand. And like by the time you get up onto the grass, you've probably run close to like a K on soft sand and your legs are just completely shot. Like that was, definitely probably one of the hardest parts was actually the running on the sand. And yeah, as you said, like run on the track, it's so bouncy and you run in spikes, like it's really sort of like springy, and that was the complete opposite. Like couldn't have been more different, really.
I have to admit, I found the sand, I didn't do it this year, I did it last year, but the sand is just something that you don't run on very often.
No, and I never do any like sand running, even though I live near the beach, but like it's so hard, it's so draining, and I think that's what did a number on my like legs the next day, like quads and like calves just shot the next day.
Yeah, I ran it this year, didn't run it last year, opposite of Stephen. I only ran the 3K. One thing I found was just that mental, like you come down the beach and then you go up Mount Jury and you come back and you go back on the sand again.
Yeah.
And I found that transition back, there's that moment like 30 seconds when just hits you mentally.
Yeah. That go from the grass and the road and then onto the sand, and then you've got to get up the like the half pipe, and your only run up is on completely soft sand. So it's like hard to build any momentum, especially when you're tired, like trying to full out sprint to make sure you get yourself up there, and it's just soft sand the whole way. So yeah, that was definitely tough.
And what did you think of the half pipe?
Oh, it was awesome. Like I'd seen it the night before when I went to pick up my race pack, and I think it drizzled a bit the night before, and it was like slippery, and I was looking at it. My brother did the race as well. He did the full 10, and he was like doing some practice runs up it, and I was looking at it thinking like I'm not going to be able to get up this. I was really like freaking out, like thinking I wouldn't get up it. But once you got the adrenaline going and the momentum, I basically just like sprinted. First lap I sprinted as hard as I could and got up pretty easily, and the second lap was actually quite tough, like when you're tired getting up there. But that was an awesome obstacle, and then seeing the teams, kind of all the teams help each other up, that was quite cool as well. Yeah,
which is a thing. But like Max said, we both do a lot of obstacle racing, and the teams event is like that. It is always help the mates over the fence or under a wall or whatever. Yeah. But I was quite surprised. We'd spoken to Gavin and Josh quite a bit beforehand, and they told us about it. And I thought when I got there, I thought, I wonder how many people are going to make it up there. But I was surprised how many people did actually make it on their first go too.
Yeah. I think it's just like once the adrenaline's going, you've just got to completely run as hard as you can from when you come underneath that little barrier and that little bridge. And basically from there, you just gotta give it everything and just focus on that bar, like pulling yourself up.
You say you do cross country. Is that trail running or cross country through athletics?
Yeah, like athletics. Yeah, through athletics, like just grass, like at the park. But I haven't done in New Zealand for years because I went to the US. I ran over in the US at a college over there, and cross country is quite big. Like you do a full season, sort of August to November. You're running cross country over there. So we did a lot of cross country in the States when I was over there, and then. I haven't done any in New Zealand for a while, and New Zealand champs are in 2 weeks, so thinking about going down to Taupo and doing the NZ champs there in a couple of weeks.
Okay, that's interesting. One of the things Max was going to ask you is about your check. What did you do with your big mega check?
Oh, it's still at home somewhere. I had it out in the living room for a while, like as sort of displayed it in the living room for a while, but it takes up quite a lot of space. So I don't know. I think it might be in the closet. I didn't throw it out. It's in the garage or something. But I'd never got one of those before, so it was quite cool. Good couple of photos out of that. But yeah, displayed it for a bit, and then I think it was just taking up too much room. It was a bit, but it was cool. It was cool to get one of those. I never had one of those big checks before.
Growing sport, obstacle racing, still so small in New Zealand, but awesome that Ultimate Athletes come along, and especially with the prize money on the line.
I was going to say, like,
you and others who are athletes involved, and
it's good to have like Under Armour and supporting. Like, you don't get any besides like maybe if you won the Auckland Marathon, you wouldn't win $3,000 anywhere in a track or a race in New Zealand. So like to put that kind of money up is like pretty cool, good for the sport, I think, and like good to get people from other disciplines involved.
Oh, that's kind of surprising to hear. There's not too much prize money.
Under Armour did a mile in June a few weeks ago, and they put up maybe 1,000 for the win, which is like that's pretty good for New Zealand prize money. Like New Zealand athletics, like there's very minimal prize money, so like $3,000 is quite a good, like 3,000, 2,500 or whatever it was is like pretty good prize money for a race.
Because one thing, sorry, it's going a bit off topic, but obstacle racing, it's big overseas. But one thing I was following that happened in the States was when the races started up a few years ago. People were getting into it as a dedicated sport, but it was at the point where athletes from other sports would come along and win the races, take away all the prize money. And then it developed beyond that to the point where people were training purely for obstacle racing, and they could beat out any other runners or other athletes come in. So it's interesting to see in New Zealand what sort of development we'll get because up till now we don't have too many like you and some other athletes from other sports who are coming into obstacle racing and winning it. So it's cool to see now, and it'd be cool to see it up the game overall as well with the obstacle races.
Yeah, interesting to see how the sort of courses go and different types, because it seemed like a lot of like they were asking me at the race like a sort of the F45, like the gym CrossFit type guys. Seemed like a lot of those guys and girls were there as well, like, and were really strong. Like I'm so weak. Like some of those obstacles like took me ages because I'm so weak. But like a lot of those guys were like they were struggling in the running, but like once they got to like the water carries and stuff like that, they were off, like they were machines. So it's also so it's funny how the different like sort of disciplines and backgrounds handle the event.
Anything else you want to add? I guess we should ask you that. Anything else you want to talk about?
No, I covered a bit. Yeah, just as I was saying, it was something sort of a bit different to me, and never done any of that type of obstacle racing before. I'd seen it been held in the Mount last year, so I decided to jump in this year, and something different. But I think maybe I was a bit naive going in, which was probably a good thing because I didn't realize how hard it was going to be. Then after going off the Mount the only time coming off the Mount, like I was thinking, geez, I've got to get over all those obstacles again. But like once you're going, you can't really stop. So yeah, it was cool.
Now we catch up with Michael Voss, who finished second place in the elite male race. Well, I guess first of all, what do you do outside of obstacle racing? What's your like normal sport, the normal races you enter?
Mainly just running. Yeah, running races. So not so much the track now, more like half marathons, and start to do a bit more in the ultra sort of trail running scene. But mainly just on the road. So half and full marathons mainly at the moment. That and just building outside of running. So yeah, I'm a builder by trade.
Yeah, it's interesting. We chatted to Julian as well, who came first place.
Yeah.
But he was saying too that he's been running halves and he's trying to build up to full marathons. So it's interesting that you guys are running those long distances, and then that translates to just the 10K race, but on sand. So it's a whole different beast.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. That's one of the reasons why I was attracted to the event, all the running in it, because I'd done it the year before, and that included 2 laps around the Mount. Yeah, made it even more favourable for the runners in the race. So they definitely evened it out this year by adding 2 loops of the obstacles, which made it a lot tougher for us. But I'm still happy with how it went.
It did seem to be a little bit, only a little bit slower than last year. The sand didn't slow a lot of people down.
No, but doing the second lap of the obstacles was, I was definitely starting to feel it in the upper body, that's for sure. Yeah, I was kind of used to the running on the sand, or not the sand so much, but just running in general. So, having to go over monkey bars or crawl on the ground under nets and stuff, it was, not something that I'm used to. So, it was just cool doing something different mainly.
So I take it you've never done an obstacle type race before then?
No, I just done Ultimate Athlete the year before. That was my first one ever, yeah. Never really seen it in New Zealand. Sort of seen it on like ESPN, like is it the Spartan race or something? I've sort of seen stuff like that, like overseas, and I've always thought, oh, that looks cool, and like Ninja Warrior and stuff. But never participated in one myself. So I'm just glad I gave it a go because I really enjoyed it.
There is a few around in Auckland and New Zealand, I should say. A couple down the south, or a few down the South Island, and that's one of the things we've got this podcast. Both me and Max love it, and you do have to go overseas if you want to do a lot of racing, but is to try and encourage others and help Ultimate Athlete. And Spartan is coming to New Zealand. They've had one race here, and they're trying to come back. They're hoping to get back later this year.
Oh, sweet! I have to keep my ears out.
Yeah, it is so much larger overseas, and it's, hopefully with this podcast we'll got a small sort of niche audience, but hopefully try and build it and expand, get more people into the races and help grow it. Yeah.
I know, it's cool. It's like I said, it's a whole lot of fun. So I hope it does grow in popularity.
So did you do any specific training, or you just put your shoes on and turned up in the morning?
Oh, last year I sort of muck around at work and I don't know, see if I could do some pull-ups on the scaffold and stuff. But apart from that, nothing really. I kind of just backed myself. Like, I knew I could sort of lift reasonable weight just being a builder, and knew I was fit. So, gave a go at doing the monkey bars while I take the dog for the walk around some parks and stuff. Thought, I'm good to go. So, apart from that, that was all I done really,
But having that huge running fitness base definitely helps.
I'm just glad I had that behind me to rely on, because I definitely wasn't the fastest over the obstacles both years around. So you sort of make up a bit of time running in between them all.
How do you find the new one this year? There was that red wall, the warped wall.
Oh, when I got there to register, probably the first time that I've been that nervous, like starting a race. I wasn't even sure if I was going to be able to get over it. Facing that for the first time was pretty nerve-wracking, but I sort of just try to do it like they do it on Ninja Warrior on TV, and all worked out.
And was there any other part of the race, any of the other obstacles in the race that gave you a hard time, or?
Probably the sandbag carry up the hill there, about halfway through the obstacles, I think it was. Still remember it last year as well, and that's what banged me up the most. I think just running downhill with the bag on your shoulders, just really feel it in my back and my glutes. Just I guess that extra weight sort of bearing down onto your shoulders as you come down the hill. That was probably the same this year. That's what banged me up the most after the race. Probably feeling it all week, that week back at work and running. Apart from that, though, I wouldn't say it was easy. Like, still definitely hard, but the warp wall and the sandbag were definitely the trickiest obstacles out of all of them.
You said you do a road racing, is it, or trail running? So are you part of the...
A bit of both, but mainly road at the moment, halves and full marathons,
Because you did one the week before Ultimate Athlete this year, didn't you?
I done Hawke's Bay Marathon. I got the win in that and managed to back up and do reasonably okay at Ultimate Athlete. I knew it'd be a bit of a push because still definitely felt the marathon in my legs from the week before. But I just tried to recover during the week and tried to freshen up as much as possible.
So you're a builder by trade, based in Rotorua. So you just do most of your trail run, most of your running around Rotorua, or you? Go into the athletics.
Redwoods, sort of.
Yep.
In Rotorua. I do most of my training in there on the Salford trails, and a little bit of mountain biking when it's not raining, not in the winter mainly, but just all my training in the forest there, and
You've got a beautiful forest. I come down and do the half Rotorua marathon each year.
Oh, yep. You're doing it in September?
I hope to. I didn't race Ultimate Athlete. I tore my bicep off my bone, so still recovering from a lot of that. Well, I'm getting back into training now, so. But no, I hope to come down. COVID put a bit of a hole in some of it. But no, I love that one. That one of those races through there. That beautiful part of the countryside.
Yeah, no, there's some pretty handy hills in there, and you can go get lost for hours. Pretty sweet to have on the back doorstep.
And you'll be lining up again at Ultimate Athlete next year, or would you think about doing the one later on this year?
Yeah, the one in Orewa, is it?
Orewa, yeah.
Yeah, me and my partner actually visited there end of last year. And yeah, it was a wicked spot. So I'm actually thinking about coming up for it this December. But cool to squeeze one in before the next one at the Mount. They're just fun, and just something different. It's not just your normal running race.
It is good. Like we were talking to Julian, it's the team side of things too. He said he quite liked the way the teams were helping one another up the walls and that at the end. And I have to admit, that's what I like about the whole sport. It's more of a community out there. So if someone's struggling, you help them.
It looked like lots of people were out of their comfort zones.
Yeah,
which was pretty cool. And yeah, I mean, it's just cool. Just like I say, trying something new and doing something that you thought you'd never do before. I tried to persuade my workmates, but they wouldn't have it this year. So maybe next year I might have a team.
Yeah.
Hopefully next year. I think that's what obstacle racing is all about. Like you were saying, just pushing outside of your comfort zone. Like you see some of the stuff and you're like, no, I can't do that. And then you get on the course and people are pushing you along and you realize you can do more than you thought you could. Yeah.
No, it's cool. Yeah, cool to watch and cool to participate also.
Yeah, one thing we were wondering to ask you guys is, what did you do with the big checks?
I still have mine from last year. I think it's in a wardrobe somewhere. But I couldn't actually stay for prize giving this year because I had to go up to Auckland for a birthday. I think it was something anyway. But it was pretty cool getting one last year. It's cool that they just offer that and a bit of cash to go with it. Brings out the competitive side a lot more. That's for sure.
Good having prize money on the line, being able to get you, the others, and some top runners along, and it's awesome. Yeah, it's a bit of a shame they didn't send you down the big check too. I guess that'd be expensive to just ship that thing. Just send you the actual money instead.
It's all good. Hopefully, next year I'll save. I'm lucky enough to place again, stay for the prize going.
I'm sure they'll have it for you if you want it when you turn up next time. We're going to talk to Ben Hennessy, who came third in the Ultimate Athlete at the Mount. How are you?
Good, thanks. Doing great. How are you guys doing?
Good. So tell us a bit about yourself. What is your normal sport? I take it it's not OCR?
No, not quite. So my main sport is running itself. Just running. So in the summer I'll be competing in athletics on the track, and in the winter I'll be rolling over the hills in cross country.
Okay. And your base whereabouts?
Tauranga.
Oh, Tauranga boy as well.
Originally from Waihi, but I moved up here this year for uni.
Oh, okay. We lived in Waihi for a while. We've got a beach house at Waihi Beach.
Oh, cool. Good spot.
Me and my wife both worked in the gold mine there.
Yeah. Ah, sweet.
Yeah, because we got told you were studying to be a PT, right? Personal trainer?
Of some sort, yeah. In the sports area anyway.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, because Josh mentioned that you went along and helped on the Friday night.
Yeah,
the
just
kids?
the kids event, yeah.
Yep. I take it this was your first ever foray into obstacle racing?
Yeah, I've only ever done tough guy, tough girl once with school. Other than that, that's my first experience with the obstacle race, yeah.
And what's your first thoughts?
Awesome fun and very, very hard.
What would you have classed as the hardest obstacle?
Ooh, I'd have to say the reverse. We had to jump up and then get your whole body up, and it's angled kind of like that. I forgot the name, but yeah, that one was rough.
Okay, that's interesting.
And carrying sandbags up a hill was never going to be easy.
Did the wall intimidate you? A lot of the others said that intimidated them, but it wasn't actually as hard as they thought.
The warp wall, was it?
Yeah, warp wall.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I was just thinking how many times I've watched the American Ninja Warrior and how high it is on that show. So I was thinking, is this gonna be easy? Is it gonna be hard? Yeah, you get a bit of adrenaline pumping when you're with the crowd there, though.
Yeah, that one definitely looked impressive. It turned out not too bad. It was pretty grippy actually, which is good. It worked really well, and it looks like it's the nerves up coming into it.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely worked well as an obstacle. How do you find the sand running?
Yeah, that's pretty rough, especially the Mount Sand, which is very soft. But I suppose everyone's in the same boat there, so we'll kind of get through it together.
It's just another obstacle.
Yeah, exactly.
They got their Ultimate Athlete Auckland event, Ariwa, coming up later this year, which they haven't held it before. The first time they're doing it. Apparently that one, it's on the beach as well, but the sand is different. It's not meant to be as soft. So that'll be interesting to see as well how that compares to everyone finding the soft sand really hard. But yeah, if you can make the Auckland one,
Yeah,
be awesome.
yeah. I'm definitely considering coming on up.
Come up and make a week of it. Come to the Spartan race on the weekend before.
Oh, sweet! How good.
You get bitten by the bug, I suppose.
Yeah, because it's going to become an Olympic event soon, is it? Or
Supposed to be getting into the Olympics, yes. It'll
yeah,
be a bit of a watch this space, I think. See where it goes. At the moment, it's going to be one of the disciplines in the modern pentathlon.
oh, cool.
Yeah, it's on track to get there. I think they're going to train. The plan is to try and split off after it gets in under pentathlon. So they're doing I just saw the other day they're doing the second test next week in the Philippines. They're doing 2 tests of it under pentathlon. It's interesting. It's definitely more Ninja Warrior focused. It's 100 meter, really fast and short.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's very short.
Yeah, and then some of the obstacles are Ninja Warrior, directly from Ninja Warrior.
Yeah. Sweet.
Yes, it's yeah. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
It'll be cool.
Very entertaining, I would think. Yeah.
And hopefully the whole thing just takes off once it's in the Olympics.
Yeah, exactly.
Global
Good.
recognition.
Did you do any training before Ultimate Athlete, or was it just turn up and see what happens?
So I was only really running. So I was pretty fit in the running phase, but I hadn't done any specific, I suppose, free running parkour type training or anything. But yeah, it was a big shock to the body, I think. Awesome fun there.
Because I can't remember which one. It was either Julian or someone mentioned that it was harder than the marathon they'd done the weekend before.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Because they just
Fair
use so many muscles that they just do not use.
Yeah, there were some different groups that were burning that day for sure.
One thing we've been asking the other athletes we've been talking to as well is what you've done with the giant check that you received.
Yeah.
Like, have you kept a hold of that?
Yeah, it's currently in my room at home back in Waihi. What I've done with the money is some of it's gone towards my accommodation costs and also a pair of running shoes. So I was pretty stoked with that.
Did you have a sponsor or anything like that for your other endeavours?
No, I don't have any sponsors currently. Something I'm looking forward to looking into at some point in the future there.
And the ultimate goal is?
Ultimate goal is to wear the silver fern on a major running stage. Yeah, that'd be a dream come true for sure if I could achieve that.
And what distance?
I would say it would quite possibly in a 5,000 meter race, a 1,500 meter race, or maybe at cross country world champs or something like that. Still in the stage of finding which is my strongest forte at the moment.
No, cheers for that. It's good to get your thoughts on the race, and I think people with like athletics background have done well from what we've learned talking to the other guys as well. Definitely all that running and even obstacle race too. You know, you got obstacles, but the main obstacle is the running.
Yeah.
90% of the course is running. So it's really cool to see you guys come in and have a race like this that has prize money on the line to draw in athletes.
Yeah, cool.
Well. Yeah, but good luck representing New Zealand in the future.
Yeah, well, I hope so. Cheers for having me on. That was good chat.
Jumping over to the female side of the field, we now talk to Deb Fuller, who came first place elite female at Ultimate Athlete.
How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. And yourself?
Good, yes. Over the rain here in Auckland. Whereabouts are you?
Yeah, in Tauranga, it's a bit the same. Any bit of sun is very much welcomed.
I've got 2 dogs, as you can see in the background, and they're over being stuck inside, as I suppose kids with school holidays are as well.
Yeah.
So, Ultimate Athlete, how did you end up there? Was it something spur of the moment, or did you follow up from the year before?
It was actually a very last-minute decision. I'd been pretty crook with a nasty bout of shingles for a few months prior to it, and was just starting to get back on my feet and woke up that morning and decided I felt all right. So put in a last minute entry and I don't know, came away with the win. So it was pretty worthwhile.
Yes, certainly was. Certainly was. Is that the first obstacle race you have done?
Yeah, very first.
So
I'd
what's
watched
your
it.
background? Your
I'm a triathlete currently. I've kind of been sporty all throughout high school, so I'm just off the back of a few years professional cycling, and then before that I was a runner. But at the moment I've been doing triathlons for 2 years, so yeah, that's what I do at the moment.
okay. And you're based in Tauranga, I take it.
Yeah,
And how did you find the Ultimate Athlete, the obstacles?
I found them pretty tough, to be honest. I don't do a lot of gym work, just a few Pilates sessions a week, but I guess the swimming and cycling and running kind of keeps me fit and strong. So
I don't think you're alone there. I've spoken to the two guys that won as well, and they both said the similar sort of thing, that there was the running that kept them in it. Julian and Michael both said if it wasn't for the fact that they were good runners, they would have struggled. And the beach sand, they put that up there with the warp wall as being one of the hardest obstacles.
oh yeah, you can be fit, but that running in the sand really takes it out of you.
Your plans to do any other obstacle races? The other Ultimate Athlete in Orewa later this year, or maybe give Spartan a go when they come along in November?
Yeah, I'd love to have a few more goes at it. It just depends on how it ties in with the triathlon season, but I'll do my best to be at any races coming up. I absolutely loved it, so I'd hands down enter another one.
So you would train a bit more specifically for it next time, or just suck it and see again?
I mean, I'd probably throw a few more gym sessions in there, but I think the amount of training I do at the moment is probably sufficient.
So you do just triathlons locally, like nationally, or is it overseas as well?
At the moment, just nationally. I was hoping to get overseas for at least a race or two last year, but it was pretty difficult with COVID and finances, and yeah, it just didn't really work out. But hopefully next year.
Okay. And did you find any obstacles really hard or really difficult, or?
I actually found that the water carry was pretty tough. I just like with the moving water inside the container and it's smacking you in the head. I put it on my shoulder and smacking me in the head, but then like the grip strength to hold it down by your side was pretty tough, having to run with that. But they were all pretty tough obstacles.
That's interesting, because either Julian or Michael, one of them said the same thing, that they put the water carry up there as one of the hardest ones.
Yeah.
And being an obstacle racer, that's one of the things we train or practice for a lot, carrying just dumbbells and that mostly, because nearly every race has some type of that, either a water drum or a sandbag or something that you've got to carry up a hill and then down a hill again.
Yeah. I mean, the sandbag wasn't as bad. I think when there's not the moving water inside the container, I think that's what made it harder.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But yeah, not being used to any of that was a bit of a shock to the system.
I didn't do it this year because I'm getting over an arm injury. Were the water drums full? Because I know last year they were only half full, and that was really bad, sloshing around. So they were going to fix that is by filling them up or finding smaller drums. So if they were sloshing around, it must have been full, completely full.
I'd say about three quarters full. Definitely wasn't all the way up.
So it's the running that saved you or got you in the first place.
Yeah, pretty much. I tried to follow a few of the other girls through some of the obstacles to see how it was done, and then kind of just made up some time around the mount and then held on for dear life on the second lap.
Mm-hmm. And how'd you find the warp wall?
I was most worried about that, but I think the adrenaline got me moving, and I just straight up first time, so it wasn't actually as scary as I anticipated.
Yeah, I have to admit, when I turned up down on Friday night, I thought, oh, that's going to be stop a lot of people. But I was quite surprised that so many people did make it. It's
Yeah.
so many people watching Ninja Warrior and then getting full of adrenaline and getting up there.
Yeah.
The big check, you've got that hanging on the wall somewhere, have you? Have you?
Yeah, it is actually sitting in the garage at the moment. Quite a big
I
thing, that.
asked the boys about it, and they said that's the first time they've got one inside New Zealand, a large check like that. So it was quite novel.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Is there anything else you want to talk about on Ultimate Athlete?
I just wanted to say that it was a very, very well done event. Like I've been kind of racing and doing a whole bunch of sports for throughout high school and been overseas, and I just thought that was a very cool atmosphere and very well organized and well done. So kudos to the organisers on that.
Yeah, Ultimate Athlete have done a really good job, and Under Armour, one of their major sponsors, have done a really good job. That is one thing you will find if you do other obstacle races, that they do have a good atmosphere. Ultimate Athlete have done a really good job for New Zealand, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's great. Triathlon could take a page out of their book.
Actually, Gavin, who started Ultimate Athlete, I interviewed him ages ago, and one of the comments he said, he got into obstacle sports because he was a big triathlete, and he made the comment that he used to get up at 4 o'clock and his kids would come to watch him, and he'd run away and come back 6 hours later, and it was all it was all over. They were sleeping in the back of the car by then, so he did like the that sort of things.
Yeah, definitely a good spectator sport, that's for sure.
It is, and it's a good community to get involved with as well. So
Yeah.
I enjoy it. So what's on your calendar for the rest of this year? Got any big races coming up?
Yeah, hopefully next week I go into surgery. I've had a few sinus and gland issues, but then I'm hoping to be fit for racing in November, December time it kicks off. So I'll do a few 70.3s and then just see how the season goes. Hopefully get overseas.
So the triathlon season is mostly sort of all over through the summer, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your insights into what you thought of Ultimate Athlete, and hopefully we'll get to see you at a few more obstacle races, and definitely at the Ultimate Athlete later in the year.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me on.
Next is a special guest because we talked to her all the way back on the very first episode ever of this podcast. And now we talk to her again as she ran again in Ultimate Athlete, and this time finished second place in the elite female field. Welcome back, Maria Bentley.
Wow, pleasure to be back. Thanks very much for having me. This year was, obviously being able to compare it to last year, it was cool. It was a very different race, different strategy needed to go into it. Obviously, when you turned up first of all, you found out that it was going to be 2 laps of the obstacles or more sand running compared to 2 laps of the base of the track and 1 lap of the obstacles. So you instantly went, well, that's going to be slower, but cool, because we get to experience the obstacles more, because when do you get the chance to really get onto these kinds of things? In training, it's not like that. So that was exciting. It was cool. And then I knew that there was another obstacle that we didn't know what it was going to be added to the race. So that was like, and I had a few chats with you, Max, about it. And I thought, I wonder if I thought it was going to be the spear throw. And then I kind of forgot about it when I turned up on the day to go register, and I saw the walked wall there. I went, holy shit. Well, I didn't make it over the monkey bars last year, so I doubt I'm going to make it again this year. Got no freaking idea. You see it on Ninja Warrior, and they struggle with it. So how on earth am I going to be able to get over it when I've got to run through the sand to get up it? So I instantly thought, well, okay, that means I'm going to lose at least 2 bands each lap of the obstacles. It is what it is. But I thought, man, that looks cool. And then so actually, my dad had come up because we were moving house that weekend, and my dad brought me over to the mount, and it was pouring with rain. Obviously, when we got to registration as well, I'm like, Dad, we've got to go and find a skateboard park so I can have a go at running at the half pipe. And Dad's like, it's pouring with rain, we're not doing that. And I went, fuck. So literally that night, I googled to see how does one attempt to go up a warped wall, and learned that it was, don't make a big run up, stop and take yourself as close as possible, take 3 steps and that's it. I went, right, okay, must remember that, which did. So that's why I kind of stopped and walked, but I just wanted to look at it. It was just like, this is cool. I like, saying, hey, this is an awesome opportunity. You got up and went, hey, I want to go come around and do that again. So anyway, that was all new. Obviously, I was a little, actually no, going around the base strategy wise was definitely different because it was kind of packed in the middle of the race. It was the middle of the sandwich this time. So you still needed to run hard, but you knew you still had a whole lot of sand running to go. And it wasn't the obstacles were almost like the break, so to speak. But the sand running obviously takes it out of you. And so you didn't want to push quite as hard around the base, probably. That was probably a little bit of change in tactics to last year. Yeah, it was just cool. I liked how I missed what I did miss was that we dragged the tyres last year. I remember I missed that obstacle. I thought that would have been cool to still have. Cool that we went under the ropes more, the rope netting on the ground. Actually 4 of those, because I think it was 4. We went under them 4 times this year. Got a bit of grazing and stuff from that. Not that you bothered about it, but it's like, I didn't notice that last year, but I've got grazing on my shoulders and my knees have obviously hit the sand, a bit of grazed compared to last year. But yeah, it's all good and no worries there. What else I thought was quite cool was when we were on the sand, there were now 3 lots of climbing over the walls, not the A-frames, but the straight up and overs, the 3 walls that were together. Yeah, that was cool. I like that. And I thought that when we did the under and overs, if there were more under and overs, because I think there were only 3. I'm trying to remember, but I think it was like under, over, under, and that was it. If you carried that on for more and more and more, that slowed some of the runners down. I think that was quite cool. The other thing that I thought would be quite cool to add to the race, to make it, because as we're saying, we're always talking, it's the runners that, they can just rock on up, and because of what the tasks are, they'll probably struggle on the monkey bars, they'll probably struggle with the jerry can, and they may struggle with carrying the sandbag up Jury Hill up and down. If you added another weighted type task, maybe it might have a few burpees, like the Atlas Stone, 5 burpees Atlas Stone for 10 metres or whatever, 5 burpees back again, something like that, or a sled drag or something that's more resistance. I think that would be quite cool. And make the jerry can longer, I remember, that was the first thing I said to you last year, Max, was it said on the website that it was a 500 metre jerry can carry. And so I specifically trained for that sort of shit. That's going to be hard, because once your grip goes, you're gone. And it was short, but I know why it was short, because, it was like, getting enough of jerry cans, but then it was short again this year, and I was like, damn it, I wish that would have been a bit longer, because I think that would have made quite a big difference if it was actually 500 metres long. And then the other thing I thought, to make it less of a runner, well, not less of a runner's thing, but maybe level it a wee bit, is it's a 10k event, but I didn't do any penalty laps, and my watch was just under 12k's for the event. So those are kind of, those are just, it was awesome. It's such a cool event, but you're just sort of thinking, you always got to think of ways to improve or add or attract more, different types of people to it. And those were just some of the things that I thought of.
Yeah, well, the distance, everyone brought that up, and we asked Gavin and Joss about it last night when we were chatting to them, and they both had COVID just beforehand, so they sent their fathers out to do it.
Oh, bless.
And they actually expected it to be shorter, but they couldn't get around the mountain, so they measured it all with the tape measure somehow and measured it all and calculated it, and that's how it got screwed up so far.
Oh, do they not have?
So, but you got to
listen to. Do they not have a GPS watch?
Listen to Joss's explanation. It is quite funny. And same with the water carriers.
I can send them my GPS file if they want it. More than happy to do that.
I think they had all that, but they just overcomplicated it. But the water carry too, the drums were a lot fuller than they were supposed to be. They filled them for them, and they were supposed to put 15 kilos in each or something. And when they turned up the next morning, they were chock-a-block full. So
They
so
pushed
it's
them out.
too late now. We'll just leave it as it is.
Because they were square ones this year compared to the, which made it a bit different too.
But so which obstacle would you have classed as the hardest?
Well, going into it, I would have said the monkey bars, but I managed to nail it this year. I don't know how, because I hadn't done as much I didn't do as much sort of specific training. Well, I say specific, but looking at obstacle type training this year as I had last year. But somehow I managed to nail it both times. And I think there's a video of me from my partner, and there's just this look of shock on my face going, oh my God, I actually did it. And actually that's where at the end of when we were on the first lap, that's how I got into the front, because I passed the other two girls on it, which again sort of floored me as well. So maybe that's not the hardest now. What's the hardest? None of them really. They're all just cool.
Okay.
They're all
We
we
thought the monkey bars or the
technical. I mean, I'm surprised I made it. Well, that when you've never been on a wall before, and then you just instantly got up it. But then maybe it's a lot shorter height wise than the ones that are in. Well, have you? Yeah. If you think obstacle wise, it's hard when you're running hard. Yeah. And whether you're running hard around the base or on the sand, that's the hard. But that's what's getting your heart rate up and making you go, shit, this is painful.
Well, the sound is like another obstacle, really.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you're not kind of aware of it at the time. Like you definitely, when you're running on the sand, because it's soft, dry sand, but it is quite sort of lumpy. So your ankles are kind of going. So you kind of always, as you're running on it, always trying to find the smooth, well, say the smoothest part, or the part that's not so much on a camber or there's tire marks or something through it. You're trying to find the least part with that. I'd say my ankle. You talk about having tired feet, but I'd say my ankles were quite tired at the end of it.
Now, a lot of the other people we spoke to have said the carry up Mount Drury was the hardest.
Oh, really?
For them, because it's just they're using muscles they don't normally use, carrying something around there over your shoulder.
I like that one. But I do a lot of very steep stair climbing, and I've often done for track maintenance, carried stones and stuff. That part I wasn't worried about that. What was cool though was this year I was able to run the whole way up to the top and back both times. Whereas I think last year we were all walking after about a third of the way up, but I was able to run. Whether the run was faster than a walk, I can't say. But that particular track, maybe not so much when you're going up, but when you're coming down is a bit hard because it's really cobbled. I don't know if you've been on it.
Cobblestones.
Yeah, it's really, really tight. So you don't want to run down the middle of it, but that's a bit tough. But no, I like that one. That doesn't faze me.
Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting to hear your take on it compared to the other people.
I don't know what many of the others are like, but I have done CrossFit type stuff in the past, and
So what is your background?
From an athlete or work?
From an athlete's point of view.
So I grew up playing. I've always done athletics. Always did athletics. Grew up with athletics, but grew up with netball competitively. But ankle injuries and just that kind of fell by the wayside at the end of high school. Really, first year of uni. But I've always kind of run and been out doing outdoor stuff, climbing mountains and bush trails and stuff. But again, what was this? Around 2010, I got into where I want to try and smash some road stuff. So 2010, I did some 9-10, did some reasonable training and managed to do pretty well in the half marathon and was national champ in 2010. A good decade and a bit before Lydia, who won it last year. And then I wasn't overly healthy though, and I've had hamstring problems for a long time, so that kind of put that by the wayside. And then with the work that I was doing, physio type stuff, was in a very exercise rehab focused movement pattern. You've got to be strong. So I'm quite a few years doing that kind of stuff, body weight training as well, zoo, Olympic lifting, all of that kind of stuff. But because I was doing it with work, you did it outside of work as well. But always did a bit of running as well. And then, and then kind of partnered as trail running. So do a lot, we're just out doing that every weekend. It's like, right, what track are we doing this weekend? That's just how the week works. Yeah.
You've got some nice trails around where you are too.
Yeah, diverse ones too, which is cool. Kakapuka on Saturday. We're still recovering from a trip to America. Partner did an ultra, so we got COVID on the plane on the way back, so we're still kind of in recovery mode at the moment.
Yeah, I heard you'd been over to the Western States.
Western States,
100.
yeah. Pretty cool event.
I was going to say that would have been pretty cool. I love trail running.
Well, actually, no, it was very hot.
Ah.
Like ridiculously hot. It was about 30, I think in the canyons where that was like 38, 39 degrees Celsius, and it's dry. But no, very cool event.
And how did he go?
He exceeded my expectations. Not that I have expectations of him, but he did really well. We managed to get under 24 hours for, trails that you don't know of, and they're a lot steeper to the likes of, and very rocky compared to Tarawera.
Yep.
And that really screwed the feet. But yeah, he got 23 hours, 15 minutes or so he got a silver buckle. He was very happy.
Okay.
Yeah. And he's doing the Wild in December, which is...
Oh, is he?
You heard of it?
Yeah. I love trail running. I do a lot of that as well. Not quite those days. I like the half marathons and that sort of stuff. Like tossing up whether I'll give the 50k Tarawera a go this year, but my body's getting too old for some of that stuff.
Oh, hey, age is not an excuse. Yeah, like as I say, I have no desire.
It's the recovery at the end that's the problem.
Yeah. I have no desire to do 160 odd Ks in one go. I'd hike it over a few days, but it's still cool to be, do the training, do some of the training, and I do the pacemaking stuff as well, which means I still get to do quite a lot of the trails that they're on.
Okay. Yeah. Anything else to comment on the event?
Prize giving is always great. Be great if they're really short though.
Yep.
Yeah, just get it done and dusted, over and out. Let's go. Yeah,
they made it a little bit more concise this year, I think.
Yeah, it was better than last year. Yeah, I think they can still work on reducing that a wee bit more.
What did you do with your big check? Have you got that hidden away somewhere, or is it on the lounge room mantelpiece like somebody has?
You're not going to believe what it is actually doing. As we moved house, and because we moved house, our cat has to be inside before we can let them out. So that's actually forming part of his walls around his kitty litter.
Oh, well, it's still it's being used.
Yeah, yes, it has, and and after that it will just it'll be binned. It's a good thing. So that actually not necessarily the checker side, but I remember last year and what was called this year is we talked about the bans and recycling them. So it's fantastic this year that they did recycle those, or we handed them back, and so they can reuse them. That's really, really cool. I'm going to say it's completely individual, and this is only my personal thing. But and I know every event, they always give out participation medals to everyone and medals to the elites. To me, some people love having a medal. To me, it's nothing. I'm not going to lie. It's not something I keep. It's not something I want. So they kind of went in the bin as well. So, and of course, we got two. We got one when we finished, and then we got another one at the. So I'm sort of thinking, but that's just me personally. I know a lot of people would absolutely hang them on the wall and go for it. But maybe we don't need two.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's something we might bring up with them, because
that was,
I know one of the races I went to in Australia, you had the option, you could tick a box and you didn't get a medal or a T-shirt, but they planted a tree for you.
I think that's a fantastic idea. Yep.
So maybe that's something we can throw to.
Like that. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, other than that, no, great work. I just hope they can get more. Obviously there's sometimes, seeing the teams is awesome. It's great watching all of that. But yeah, it would be cool because obviously this year, like compared to last year, there weren't actually the same type of. I think was there only maybe one or two who did the elite race last year that did it again this year. So why didn't the others? Obviously we know Lydia doesn't live in New Zealand, but why did some of the others not? But that's all research, and things take time.
Are you going to do the next one in Auckland here?
In Orewa, that's the week before the Wild, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. I hope to. Again, it'll probably be a bit closer to the time, because I like to be there the day before, so that you can relax into it and not have to travel on the day that you race. You'll see. I hope to. I absolutely hope to.
that'd be good to see you there, because a lot of the others we've spoken to probably won't, because it's the beginning of the triathlon season, and it's the beginning of the athletic season, and that's their go-to. So
yeah. Oh, well, sweet. Maybe I'll get first this time.
Step up to the top of the ladder.
No, because I want to support it because they've got some great things behind them. They're pushing mental health as well, and for me, just to see people out there moving and doing something different, challenging themselves, getting outside of the box, working as a team, I think it's great.
Now that we've heard from some of the top athletes who destroyed the Ultimate Athlete course, we now hear from the evil masterminds behind the whole event, Gavin and Jocelyn, the organisers of
guys.
Ultimate Athlete.
How are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Really good.
Good.
Everything's packed away and ready to go to Owira, is it?
Ooh.
I think it's mostly packed away. Yeah.
I drove past the beach the other day. You haven't left anything on the beach, so you're right with that.
Definitely nothing on the beach.
No. Yeah.
Nothing left on the beach. But that was a tough pack in and pack out actually, that last one. We did have a bit of wear and tear and breakage and stuff from the weather, but
Yeah.
nothing major.
Everything will be back up to spec come Owira.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the weather was intense. It was quite strong winds. I know you guys did have some damage, and then the setup wasn't ideal. A lot of the tents and stuff couldn't be set up right.
Yeah, we definitely had some challenges with just things that could blow away easily, all our inflatable stuff and all of the dressing, the pretty stuff from around the athlete village. But it was actually the obstacles and the whole course still ran really well considering the high wind. So we're really stoked that the obstacles could operate safely, which is, it's great to know just going forward that we're capable of going ahead, just minus a few inflatables and tents and things like that might blow away.
Yeah. Wind's probably always going to be the biggest challenge for us. Like we can handle the rain, but wind is a real problem. So knowing that we can
forge ahead even in really strong gusts, it's really good.
But the times you've got for later in the year and the one for next year, that's April's usually a pretty good weather-wise at the Mount. So it should be.
We'll come a bit earlier.
Come forward a bit, just hoping to get a bit more of that end of that settled weather. Yeah, so hopefully it should be nice in April.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like the weather's been terrible since Ultimate Athlete. That weekend was like the start of it, and it just hasn't stopped, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. We wouldn't have wanted to go any later, I don't think.
Yeah, so hopefully coming a few weeks earlier next year means it'll be better weather.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Owira on the 3rd of December. Yeah, hopefully it's
first weekend of summer. Hopefully we get
hopefully it's nice and sunny.
The perfection of a first summer weekend.
Yeah, we will.
One of those things too with, I guess, doing outdoor sports events, I guess the weather would be a nightmare because I guess you guys could plan everything else and then you can't control the weather and you just gotta roll with what happens. And
I mean, and being that we're always on the beach and on the coast, right? I think you're always pretty vulnerable there.
Yeah.
But, part of the fun.
The surf club guys actually said that they thought our event fared pretty well. They've seen events, with tents rolling down the beach and things blowing out to sea and just completely destroyed. So I think our team did a really good job. And
our team did amazing. Yeah. Well, I think they had the Mount Monster, which they had real high wind as well. That's a surf lifesaving event, and they had to bring in divers to pick up all the stuff that had blown out into the ocean.
It could have been worse. Yeah. Yeah.
So from your perspective, how did it go? Did you get the participation you wanted, or was it close? Or
I think it was really good, actually, considering the climate with COVID and all that, sort of the adjustment period with COVID. I think we did really good.
Yeah.
Obviously, it slowed things down a little. You got people that are sort of obviously a little bit either sick or trying not to get sick, or got another element to contend with. But I think generally it was pretty good.
I mean, our numbers were about the same as what we got in 2021. So I think, and a lot of other events in various different codes seem to be down with their numbers. So for us to be the same, I think we can definitely take that as growth for us.
It's positive, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I think you definitely could, because I must know 15, 20 people who were going to go, but either had got COVID or just got over COVID, because there was like 5 of us down there that didn't compete because we were injured or had just got over COVID. So
Yeah.
I think if you got close to your first year, I think you'll do really well.
And I think the weather wasn't great in that week leading up, which I think does stop people signing up.
Yeah,
for
the
us,
week of,
you know, that week. I know when I used to enter my triathlons, I always used to wait until there's a good forecast. So I would have definitely been in that boat pulling out.
And did you get any good feedback or any feedback from the competitors on your secret obstacle? And
yeah, we the security guards, overnight security guards, had told us that we ended up with some very nervous competitors showing up in the middle of the night to have a crack at the obstacle before.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I think it was quite daunting for people seeing it on the Friday, which is it's sort of why we didn't announce it, because we didn't want to put people off. But it was definitely quite daunting to look at. But I think a lot of people were quite successful with it. So I'm not one of them. I couldn't do it.
We've had a chat with most of the elite winners, and they all went in saying that was the one that made them nervous.
Yeah.
And then we asked, well, which was the worst one after that? Could you pick which one they would pick as the worst?
Sandbag
carry, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
The sandbag or the water drums were the two. The monkey bars, nothing else in it, but because they don't do that.
I've looked at a few people that did it. Their heart rates through the event, and once they get to the sandbag, it just seems to like go through the roof and then just not come back.
Come down there.
Yeah, you know, like I think if it stayed on the flat, they might be able to, you know, control that heart rate. But I think going up there with a sandbag is just a bit brutal. But yeah,
we won't be at all the events. We won't always have the opportunity to have such an awesome little hill to climb. So
hill to climb, no.
Yeah,
we'll find a way though.
Yeah.
Swim out to sea and around a buoy back with it.
There's a couple of little hills in Otahuwa that we're looking at using. So
yeah.
I was quite surprised when they all said that, because being an obstacle racer, the sandbag's just part of it. And then they, oh no, that was the worst thing. The monkey bars are easy. The women have said that they've joined CrossFit, train a bit more for next year.
Yeah. CrossFit.
Because I don't know how much you've spoken to them, but a lot of them aren't going to be able to do Orewa. I don't know whether you've got that feedback or know why.
No, we haven't had a catch up with them yet.
And a lot of people we've spoken to are going to miss it because it's the beginning of the triathlon season and the athletics season. I don't know whether that going forward that's going to help pay into you when you hold it, because a lot of them said, well, we're going to train all year and then we start in November our athletics season, and we can't go afford to get, especially ones with sponsors.
Yeah. So I might just have to increase the prize money then, eh?
Well, they all said that was really good. It's the highest paid sport of athletics one around, anyway.
Yeah. Hopefully we can keep some interest with the elites and things. And it'll be a different course, so definitely less of the soft sand running and things like that in Orewa, so it'll be a bit different.
And they all love their big checks.
Yeah.
One of them, who hasn't got one? Is it Julian didn't get his? Somebody didn't get theirs.
I don't think Michael Voss.
Oh, Michael, was it? Yeah.
Michael had to go, didn't he? So I don't think he got his big check.
Yeah, we do have one big check.
I don't think he'd want a second place one after last year.
We were asking them about their checks, asking what they did with it.
What did you do?
Pretty amusing, their answers. But some of them, didn't they? One of them kept it on his mantelpiece.
What? Yeah. Someone had it in the garage, but
I think they've all kept them.
Where to put it, but they all had it. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Awesome. It'd be a hard thing to throw away, I guess.
Yeah, I know the teams love the big trophies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a hit.
Yeah. So I know a lot of those big trophies were out in bars that night being filled with beers. So
yeah.
so that's kind of why we wanted wanted to have that design. So
Yeah,
that was pretty cool to see.
it was good.
Yeah, and we've definitely noticed a big increase in our team sign-ups. Like the 6K teams is like 30% of our total entrants, which is the highest. So definitely a lot of teams getting involved, which is great.
Yeah, it's cool.
Well, that is good.
Yeah.
Encouraging teams seems like the way to go. It's obstacle racing is just suited for it, I think.
Yeah.
Going out there with a group and helping each other and having fun.
Absolutely.
The intimidating obstacles.
Yeah. Yeah, it gives, I guess you've got your strengths and weaknesses over your team, don't you, that you can sort of help each other, and it's good. And just encourage each other and have a good time.
I must admit, standing by the wall watching the teams come up, and one person gets up and then helps all the others, and a lot of people commented how good that was.
Yeah.
It made it so that everyone could get over it.
Yeah.
It's cool to watch too, I think
it is.
Yeah, really, it's really neat. And especially, I think, at the moment, all the stress and all that sort of thing, and then you see everybody helping each other, and even just individuals, like somebody would get up, someone would give them a hand, and then they'd stand there and help the next person that needed a hand, sort of pay it forward before they carried on, which was so cool to see. Really cool. We'd love to have more obstacles that require that kind of teamwork, actually.
I think the wall, perfect, like hit it out of the park. It was a really good balance between like individuals being able to make it up and then people requiring teamwork. It seemed to work perfectly, like it. And I think it really intimidating as well, just the height of having it in that festival area where you can see it before you start running. But it's quite grippy actually, so it's good. It's not super hard. And you had some people making it, some people, taking multiple attempts, and then some people doing teamwork. And I think the whole balance overall was really good.
There's a bit of a hot topic, really, like deciding what the actual height would be.
Yeah.
I think we could have been about half a meter higher for a while there, but I think that would have been.
I think we nailed it. I think
you really nailed it, because it intimidated a lot of people at the beginning. That's what everyone was talking about. Everyone was worried about. And then so many people, I remember, because I spent most of the day standing at the bottom of it, and everybody was getting excited when they got to the top.
Yeah. That's awesome, right? That's the whole thing, is like being a bit nervous about something, but then feeling really awesome because you've managed to achieve it. And
and just seeing the different methods that people used, especially with like the soft sand run up.
Yeah.
And definitely like the shorter, faster run up seemed to be more effective. Instead of like starting your sprint like 50 meters out, you're slowing back down by the time you get there.
Because I think that's what Julian said when we talked to him. He said he took off when he came out of the little crawling space and took off, and by the time he got there, he could hardly breathe.
Yeah.
So the second time around, he didn't have to do it as
they're probably moving fast enough at their normal pace anyway.
Yeah.
Just a couple of extra steps and they should be up.
I think it was a common mistake though, because definitely you could see the people that went from further out had a harder time actually getting up the wall than people who just stepped back a little bit from it and then just took a run up. They seemed to do better. The grip was good on it. We had a bit of a shower the next day, and I had a go at it before we took it down, and it was not very grippy with a little bit of rain on it. So it could be an interesting one to watch if we get rain at any of the future events.
Yeah, just need more teamwork to get up it.
Yeah.
So Ariwa's all sorted. You've got no issues up there. Everything's going ahead full plan.
At this stage, everything's looking really good. Yeah, everything's pretty promising.
Really good. We've got some really exciting things to come into the athletes village this time, but that we can't really carry too much about. But they should be all locked in soon, and a couple new sponsors and stuff. So there'll be some exciting things to come. And I really like that course. I reckon it's going to be super fun. It should be pretty quick, I reckon.
So is there going to be a not a long run, but a run similar length to around the mount, or is it all going to be the whole short course and long course going to be pretty much all obstacles?
The course that's online, there is going to be a slight change to that, and most of them are pretty well spaced out over the course, so there's not a real long run section. We will have the 3 kilometer distance there as well, and then we'll have the 6K and then the 10K is looking like it'll be a 2-lap loop, similar to the mount, which I think really helps with like that spectator engagement and people seeing what's happening.
Yeah, I think the mount's always going to be a little bit unique because of that base track run.
Yep.
We couldn't not use it, if we were allowed to use it. It's such a stunning run. So we always wanted to be able to use that. You just can't put any obstacles on it. In an ideal world, would have obstacles sort of spread out over the course so that it keeps people engaged and it keeps it interesting. So, but I mean, you can't get bored on that base track either, running around that. It's pretty stunning.
No, it is. It's certainly is.
Yeah. So yeah, Odu was a little bit different, but it should be interesting. I think will be interesting if we get any of those elites back to see how they go on a different course.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's definitely a lot less soft sand running just with how the tides are there. Yeah, we will run in that window of low tide, so a lot of the obstacles will go out as the tide allows. So
it's going to be an interesting setup. quick now. Yeah, that'll be good.
So what was that you guys are needing to, because at the moment the mount's pretty spaced out throughout the main Saturday. Is Oriba, it's going to be tight?
It's tidal. It's tidal there. So we have to run a couple of hours either side of the tide. Yeah, the low tide. So basically, we don't have enough space on the beach otherwise because it comes up so high.
Well, that'll slow the elites down if you start them at high tide.
Yeah.
No, actually, you've got too many triathletes. They'll be just as good at that.
Yeah, they'll be good at that. Yeah. Yeah, we might have to get a few surf lifeguards out there.
Yeah. Yeah, knee-deep water would make it interesting, wouldn't it?
It would, I've said that. We could put the obstacles out, just make sure they're the heavy ones that won't float away.
At least they won't complain about soft sand if they're knee-deep in water.
Yeah. We'll just tell people there's no soft sand, but we won't tell them about all the water.
Yeah. Hard enough, it's just knee-deep water. It's all right.
Yeah, there's a few
quite good.
There's a few sections there that are on soft sand, so that's we'll set up some of our bigger obstacles that take a bit of time to put up on those sections, and then some of the smaller, lighter stuff will go out on low tide. And then there's a real mixture of terrains out the back there. There's some a few little trails, and as you come back into like the athletes village, there's a real nice sort of grass section in front of the Odu holiday park. Yeah, and it's probably if we can get it to work out that the warped wall will be the last obstacle.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
If we can make it fit.
Nice.
Good. That certainly is a good spectator one, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It is, yeah. We'd love more like that, ideally. Just to keep growing that kind of spectator obstacle and the teamwork and all that sort of stuff that's on it it'd be great.
Be cool to see the setup take place in a new location too. Now that we've seen it happen in the Mount 2 years, and to see how the course plays out, it'll be exciting. But looking overseas, like taking, being what's the term? Not stealing, but being inspired by some of the top obstacles from overseas races, I think would be good. Like the warped wall. There's a few races that use variations on warped walls.
Yeah. But
definitely. You guys should take a look at what's overseas and see what works well, and bring your version of it to New Zealand would be awesome.
Yeah, we definitely want to keep doing that. We've got a couple up our sleeves that we're really dying to do, and there's some exciting ones we've got up our sleeve. We've basically just got a little book of ideas at the moment of things that we want to do. So it's just when it works out, and sometimes sponsors like Red Bull want to come on board and do something with us that fits their branding or that they like, and that just means we can kind of grow our obstacles. And if we keep getting those sorts of obstacles that get a good attention, like on social media and things like that, then that's the kind of obstacle that sponsors want to jump on board with and things. So so that'll keep growing, I'm sure.
I think the unique thing for us is because we're a public place event, everything has to be like easily put together and be able to go together quick and come down and be stored and then be able to move. We haven't got the luxury of just having like a permanent location that we can take 2 months to build an obstacle on site. So everything has to be able to be quickly moved around,
packed up between low tide.
And that. But we work with a really good engineering team at Asset Engineering, so yeah, they're pretty switched on dudes. So and they had a lot to do with the walk-to-wall design, and yeah, they did a really good job.
He's always pushing the lead designer, Rob. He's always pushing for bigger, harder, tougher. He's a bit of a tough nut, so he's always like, he wanted an extra half a meter on the warped wall. It was big debates. Come on, there's normal human beings that are going to do it, Rob. He's the man responsible for the 9 meter long monkey bars as well, with the up and
down.
Yeah, 6 meters was the brief, so
yeah,
you got an extra 3 meters in on that one.
Yeah,
added 3 meters in the middle, just a bit higher.
Yeah, good old Rob from Asset. Yeah, he'll keep the challenges coming, I'm sure.
Yeah, 100%.
So 2023, are we going to see another race anywhere else, or too early to say?
Too early to say at the moment. We've got another destination that we're really keen on.
Yeah.
And it's just timing for that, really, just seeing how everything goes with events and of course COVID and things like that, and just making the right timing calls are pretty important at the moment, especially for new events. I think we got something on the cards.
We'll probably make that announcement after Odewa.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we do get to that third location, then it'll be pretty exciting. We've got a short course event at Ames Games.
Oh, so that is going ahead?
Yeah. So we're there on the 7th and 8th of September, and that'll be open to adults and kids. So we're setting up a 150 meter course with 12 of our obstacles. That'll be free for anybody that's already registered, or anybody that registers between now and then. We'll be able to get 3 attempts through the course to set a time. So we'll have it laser timed. So if people want to come down and try out some of the
opportunity to have a go at the obstacles, yeah.
And whereabouts is?
So this will be at Coronation Park in Mount Maunganui. So I mean, it's Ames Games week that week. So there'll be a lot of athletes in the area for Ames Games, but we do have in a place that's accessible for everyone. So we're hoping to get anyone that's interested in coming along and just upskilling ahead of one of the next events to come along and have a go. Yeah, we might get some CrossFitters and things that like the shorter distance, and
we will have some times as well that will be just for adults, so they're not always getting swamped by kids. So we'll confirm the details soon. So that's something that we'll be announcing shortly. So that should be fun. And Ames Games is sold out this year, so there's 11,000 kids going to be in town competing in all sorts of sports. So be a great opportunity for them to try something different and to try OCR. So it should be exciting.
Yeah, it is going to be exciting. It's cool. It's happening. I've heard a little bit about it from you guys, but it's cool. It is all going ahead and very exciting. I'm just thinking, what were you saying about people who register, they can run it for free? What were you meaning by that?
Yeah, so if you're signed up for Odewa or the Mount, you can come down and we'll treat it like a training day, basically. So you can come down and have a crack at the short course, which is 12 of the obstacles. It's not all of the obstacles, it's just some of them. So, but it just gives you an opportunity to kind of have a go at some of the obstacles ahead of it, or have a obstacle training day, really.
Yeah.
Ahead of Odewa or the Mount.
I think for us, the biggest battle is education and sort of telling people, learning what OCR is. Everyone knows what a 10K run entails, but when you talk about obstacle course racing, they're not really sure what that is. A lot of people think that, that's too hard for me. So something like this, giving people the opportunity to be able to come down and just give it a try, I think will be really good.
Yeah, and if we get anyone that comes down, and it's going to be $39.95 for adults to try it, but if they come down and have a go at that one and decide they want to sign up, we're going to give them that off their entry fee. So either way, it ends up being free for them if they sign up on the day to one of the events as well.
Okay.
Yeah, it just gives us a little bit of an intro to people that are a little bit on the fence or not sure that they're able to do the obstacles. Gives them the opportunity to sort of get involved and figure that out.
And even people I think who ran previous race who want more practice at the monkey bars, or like or the net flip, flipping
yeah, I had a
forwards
go.
over the.
Yeah, I did it.
Oh, nice.
Yep. So the
When no one
monkey,
was looking.
the monkey bars and the A-frame cargo will both be there. So
Yeah, we won't be having the walk to wall at this one because it's Red Bull and that's R18 and we've got all the games kids running through it. So the walk to wall won't be at this one, but we will have
a lot of the other stuff will be.
That's cool. Yeah, when I was up at the race with you guys too, I had to go at that flip, at the pro flip over the net, because I'd seen videos of athletes doing it, but again, it's like I never had a net to practice it.
That's it, yeah.
I was quite excited to go on the beach and give it a jam, and it's not as scary as it looks.
No, it gave me a little bit of an adrenaline rush because I wasn't, but it's more just the like not knowing how you're going to flip over the other side, and if you've got your grip right on the, you know how you're going to land, but it's actually not so bad once you've done it.
Well, I mean, if you go up the top and you straddle the top, you're actually much higher, eh?
Yeah, true. Yeah.
You're probably in quite a vulnerable position up there.
Yeah. It is higher.
You can go either way, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Never tried it myself, so.
Yeah, we've got that one next time. We just wait till everyone goes home and then play on the obstacles.
Yeah. I've never tried
that is a good one for people looking to get more obstacle proficient.
Yeah.
Because it saves a lot of time. Like I was, when Spartan was last year in New Zealand, I ran the elite race and their net was one of the first obstacles. So all the elites sort of hit it about the same time. You see the guys, all the men and women who did that flip, and then they took off, a number of meters ahead, just seeing the amount of time it saved. If you're running competitive, it's definitely one of those needed techniques to give you a little extra push. So an event like that at the Ames Games gives, people wanting to up their obstacle proficiency and like you were saying, gives new people a chance to try out the obstacles and see what they're about.
That's another thing we're going to do is anybody that's wanting to run sort of training challenges and things like that, any trainers or PTs or coaches that are wanting to run challenges, extend them an invite to be able to come and have a go at the obstacles and work out some best technique and things like that so that they can pass that knowledge on to their members and clients and things. Yeah, so not just upskilling everybody that's interested in competing, but also upskilling the trainers and coaches and obstacles basically, and just letting them sort of have a go at it all and know what it's all about. It'd be really cool.
That'd be good. And just things like avoiding injury as well, like monkey bars, like not locking out and hanging off your ligaments, just keeping like a little bit of tension and little things like that where it's I guess I've probably read that somewhere online from obstacle racing, but getting the trainers aware of things like that just to avoid injuries and their clients by injuring shoulders. And
we'd love to do, we're going to do some really good social media content and content for like our emails and things that go out, just tips and tricks like that, just for around safety and best technique. And we're going to do that at this Ames setup because we'll have time to sort of get some coaches and trainers sort of working on that and film some stuff and pop it out for everybody that's coming along to an event that's interested. So it should be good.
Yeah, we had the addition of the bell at the end of the monkey bars this time as well, eh?
Yeah, which was cool.
It's only because we lost the steps that are meant to be at the other end. Quick improvisation.
Yeah.
The bell works really well.
It does,
I actually like it. It makes for real quick dismount, right? And you sort of can keep that momentum.
Yeah. So if you time it right, you could technically like hit it midair, like let go, hit it on the way down.
Yeah, a lot of people did do that.
Clip it on the way through.
Clip it.
Yeah,
as you jump off.
Well, do you guys want to throw anything else out there, or we'll wrap this up?
I guess the only other thing is our pricing tiers change come 1st of September. So Mount Early Bird prices are on sale until the 1st of September. Then we go up to tier 2, and then for Orewa, tier 2 ends on the 1st of September. So get in and sign up before those days. And if you're around the mount on the 7th and 8th of September, come and join us at Coronation Park and have a little crack at the course.
Yeah,
I haven't had a look on your site for a while, but do you have a where you can sign up for both? Is there a discount if you signed up for Orira and the Mount next year, or you haven't thought of
Not
that?
yet, but that's a really good idea. We should do that. Yeah, we'll be keen to do offer a discount for both.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
All righty. Well, thank you very much for your time.
No,
Thank
thank
you.
you both.
So that's the UA team. Some of the winners, some of the second place and third place males and females. We hope you had a enjoyable listen and got a lot out of it. We enjoyed recording it. Gavin and Joss have always got a lot to say on obstacle sports and where they're going, and hopefully people will support them and go to the events.
Yeah, so check out Ariwa, Ultimate Athlete Ariwa, and Ultimate Athlete at the Ames Games coming up. And just for one final time, I'd like to say thank you to Earshots, our sponsor, sponsoring us over the past few episodes. Make sure you go along to their website and use our discount code NZOCR. It's your last chance to use it. So if you want to pick up some Earshots now with a discount, go along and do that now. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook.
And we'll add the social media links for all the people who have just been on the course to our show notes as well. Thank you very much.
But wait, don't turn it off just yet. There's a little bit more to go in this episode. A very special, very long 1 year anniversary podcast episode. If you've been listening to us for a few episodes now, you would have heard us interviewing James Bell Booth, who is the CEO and founder of Earshots. For the past 2 episodes, we've been playing parts 1 and 2 of the interview with him. And now we're going to listen to part 3, the third and final part of our interview with James from Earshots. So to catch you guys up, Earshots are a sponsor, and they're a New Zealand company, which is awesome, and they've invented wireless magnetic earphones, which stay in your ear for active activities, perfect for things like obstacle race training. So now we're going to listen to the third part and hear a bit about the company and their journey about inventing this amazing obviously product. You guys are based in New Zealand. Is it for sale overseas? Is it starting to get picked up over there?
So we started selling the product, and so all up until this January 2020, I had a day job as well as working on this as a side hustle. I quit my day job in January 2020, and then I saw out my leave, and obviously we were in February 2020, and then COVID hit. So that was super scary for my family and I, because I got 2 kids, and then I had another kid due in April. And so my poor wife at the time was freaking out because, I just left a secure income to work at Earshots full time, this pipe dream, that she. So I was working out of my baby girl's room at the time, which is soon to be born. And we started selling online, and we weren't quite sure exactly what was going to happen, but touch wood, we continue to do okay. But we've been shipping internationally from New Zealand for the last 2 years and selling to anyone who's interested. So we've got customers all over the place, but predominantly we sell in Australia, New Zealand, and we've just set up a warehouse, like a distribution center in California. So that's where we were a couple of weeks ago, and we went to a big mountain biking show called the Sea Otter Classic. And then I've got a few guys who've been helping me out, and they were at the Big Sur Marathon in California just this weekend.
So you're at a marathon too recently. I saw on Instagram some photos of marathon.
Yeah. So we've got a few guys up there helping us, and the product's selling well up there too. So that's it's resonating with people, and once they try it and they realize it ain't going to hurt their ears, then they seem to be pretty excited by it, which is cool.
They're not manufactured here in New Zealand. You're manufactured overseas, I take it?
Yep, they're manufactured in Shenzhen in China.
Okay. China.
So I've been up there. I was very, very fortunate. I started traveling up there. So November 2017, I knew that we had a concept. So my first trip up to China was probably about March 2018. And I'd actually met a manufacturer through kind of a New Zealand government organisation that helps companies establish manufacturing. And so I went up there, and I was very fortunate to meet a manufacturer that I've now been working with for, 4 or 5 years. Really lovely Chinese guy who owns it, and yeah, they've been brilliant, absolutely brilliant to deal with. You know, we until COVID, we'd go up there every kind of 3 or 4 months. Man, I wouldn't be here where I am without them. They've been, you know, really, really helpful and really good to work with, and very loyal.
So you guys have got the new version. I haven't tried that yet. I've had some of the old version. But
Yep.
what are the differences in the new version?
So I guess the first thing we did, well, one of the things I'll always do, is listen to customers and listen to feedback. So after we got the first version out, you know, we had a good dialogue with customers about the things that we could improve. And so we looked hard at a whole lot of things. So first thing was audio quality. Needed to make, you know, a lot of people were seeking an improved audio experience. So we looked hard at that. Connectivity. So the thing about true wireless, which is where you've got, you know, no cords, there's no cords in between the two earbuds, and then there's no cord in the phone, is your connectivity performance is dictated by your antenna. So you design a antenna in the earbuds, and a lot of earphones will use what's called a chip antenna, which is just like a component. You just can buy it like you can buy a button, or, you know, it's just a component. So we only, in the first version of the product, we had a chip antenna, and it was suboptimal for a really good experience. So we invested in a custom antenna, which is where you kind of design the signal pattern that you want to emit from your earphones. And because we wanted, you know, in our situation, a lot of antenna design, people just grab a phone, they'll put it on the table, and then they'll just tune an antenna. But, you know, for us, that wasn't good enough. So we had to, you know, get a whole lot of GPS watches and map the pattern of how we needed the signal to leave the earshots for a whole lot of range of movements and phones in pockets and watches and arm movement and all these things. So we put a lot into that antenna design so that we could get, you know, really high speed, high quality streaming. And then we looked at our durability around our construction, our mechanical construction, making sure it was more waterproof, better durability. You know, we've got a new processor in the product, which means the power management is a lot better. So we get like up to 10 hours battery life. We looked at everything really, you know, and we prioritized some things over others, but, you know, we just wanted to make the product a whole, give our customers a better experience again on top of what they already had. And we'll continue to do that too. So I think it's in our ethos to always look at how we can make our product and what we're doing for our customers better. And then what I hope is that we'll do that by staying close to the people who really use our product, you know, like not people who sit at a desk and just test it, but people who are out there running or riding or, you know, doing, you know, training for things like what you guys do. And so yeah, we're pretty committed to that.
They're brilliant. I definitely use them. And you guys sponsored the Tough Guy and Gal event actually last year, was it?
Yes, possibly. Yeah, I think Janelle had organised that. Yep.
Yeah, and I purchased some from her there.
Oh wow, yeah, awesome.
Used them and they were good. I actually lost them as well. Just completely lost the whole case, fallen out of my pocket or my backpack at some point, and then purchased a new pair because I used them so much.
Yep.
So I definitely recommend them if anyone wants to pick them up. The one thing I did want to ask you about is my only downside with them is there's no volume control. So you have to like pull out your cell phone out of your pocket to adjust it. Is that something you've looked into or something that's potentially coming?
It is, yeah, you are, yes, it is something that we are aware of and something that we are looking to figure out how to solve in a really good, cool way. So you are one of many that have mentioned that to us, and it's something we know we need to solve. So it's on the list. Touch wood. We get through, we continue to grow, and that'll be something that we'll look to remedy as soon as we can. It's one of those things, like with designing products, you've always got this balance between delivering everything that you need to, but also being on a timeline and trying to figure out what, within that timeline and the resource constraints that you have, because developing products like this is it's quite resource hungry. And so, you're always making trade-offs when you need to ship things out the door that fortunately some things get dropped, but it's absolutely something that's on our list.
Yeah, that's cool to hear. It's not a major thing as well. I mean, you can just pull your phone out of your pocket and adjust it. But yeah, it's one of those little things that...
It's definitely high on the list. It's high. I shouldn't just say it's on the list, it's high on the list.
I've got two quick questions. How did you go in your T42 that you were training for when you came up with this design?
Oh, gosh. I did not as well as I had hoped.
So you were doing the duathlon and doing both?
The running component, I think I can remember rolling my ankle about 5 times. And so that was super frustrating. But yeah, I've never, that's something I need to remedy. You know, it was so full on getting, I was saying to someone the other day that it's been all consuming, this journey of, you know, going from, hey, when I switched out of, hey, I'm not going to, did the race. And then I was like, oh, I'm going to solve this problem. That I have hardly done any events since. And I was saying to my wife, I really want to get back into it because I miss it. But it's just been so consuming getting this business going that it's, you know, come at a cost of other things, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's one of the ones on my list. I just haven't got around to doing it. COVID, injuries.
Yeah.
And this year I've just got so many rolled over from last year. I just thought, oh, well, next year's another year. I'll try there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm actually on the stand. I'm going up to in a couple of weeks. I think not this weekend, but next weekend. I'm up there, so that'll be good.
No, it's a lovely part of the country. I've done the goat a few times. I don't know if you know that one.
Yeah, I know the goat.
Yeah, I've done that a few times. I love that.
So I used to run with. They're still going, and yeah, a good mate of mine, Sam. He does the goat most years, and yeah, that's a great event. That's on my list. I'd love to do that.
So your wife was annoyed with you losing the mortgage at the beginning. She's talking to you now, I take it, especially if you've got another child turn up since then. So
she's still supportive. I have to thank her a lot. I mean, you know, she's given up a lot she's given up a lot. Let me put that in context. We've had to say no to a lot of things that, you know, we may have done over the last 7 or 8 years so that, you know, I could do this. So I'm very, very fortunate that she's hung in and supported, you know, the journey. So yeah, she's still, you know, we're still touch wood going strong, but you know, at some point she's looking forward to hopefully. So I've got quite a big family. When I say I've got 3 kids now, and we drive this, you know, Toyota Corolla Fielder with roof racks on it, and it's, you know, crammed in. I got one son that's 11, and I got 2, and he's cramming into the middle between these 2 car seats, and you know, but it's, you know, because of all of our extra resource we've put into the business. Things like driving a car that actually fits 3 kids in the back seat just hasn't come as a priority. But you know, who knows what happens?
Oh well, you've got a good product. There's certainly, I think it's only up from here.
Hopefully. Yep. No, it's so far it's been good, and you know, we'll just keep our heads down. I just use the athlete analogy. You just put one foot in front of the other and just keep moving forward, and you know, and see. It's only when you look back at some point that you realize how far you've come.
Yeah, it's an awesome product for my use of it.
Yeah, awesome.
It's cool to
thank you. Appreciate that feedback.
Cool to hear from you as well. Get you on the podcast, learn about yourself and just the Kiwi ingenuity story behind designing it.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you.
Number 8 wire mentality.
It's it can be done. It's all about your top 2 inches, and then what you're willing, again, this is the athlete analogy, you know, what you're willing to give up to make it happen.